Needs assessment decision-making process. Decision maker. Abby is the decision maker. Abby is 29 years old dentist. She has been offered a new position in Washington, D.C. with a starting salary of $110,000. She's currently living in Boston as a dentist and making $120,000 a year. She will be marrying her fiance, who lives in Washington, D.C. Abby has family and friends living in Washington, D.C. She's considering moving in D.C. or letting her fiance move in with her in Boston. She's also 2 months pregnant. She's very close to her family and friends. 3 decisions to make. In the next 6 months, Abby will be facing with 3 decisions to make. Will she move to DC? Will she buy a new house in DC to raise her baby? Will she sell her current house in Boston? Abby must decide whether or not she should move in DC and be with her fiance and accept a loss of $10,000 in salary difference. She also must decide whether or not it would be advantageous to let her fiance move back to Boston with her, whether or not she wants to raise her baby in DC, whether or not to sell her current house and buy a new house in DC. Methods and process. The methods used in this decision making is very important. The first element to take into account is to identify decisions. The second element is to establish information needs. The third element is to create methods of analysis. The fourth item is to prioritize information gathered. And the last one is to analyze data. Table of result. The methods we chose to look at this is to identify important factors and focus on the potential outcome of future decisions. Once these factors are derived, each is ranked and placed into this table. 0 represents the least important factor, and 7 represents the most important. After the ranking is completed, averages and ranges are found to determine if each individual factor plays an essential role in decision making, or if it requires rapid data collection or just periodic data collection for decision making. The result of our needs assessment shows a long list of problems we have to consider in making a decision, which include location, expenses, family members, type of house, friends, opportunity cost, climate, mortgage rate, salary differences. The essential factors are critical in the decision making. Our data shows 3 essential factors, which are location, expenses, and salary differences. Our data shows 3 rapid factors, which are family members, friends, and climate. Rapid factors are not as important as the essential factors, but their cumulative effect can be significant. Introspection. This process allows us to see which factors were relevant in decision making. Also, it gives us the ability to establish direction and maximize efficiencies. It also gives us the ability to ask questions and take observation. And finally, it creates levels of organization.